Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the only show on the internet that asks the questions, did we like watching this TV show? Did you like watching that movie? How about reading that book? I don't know why no one else has done it, but I'm not unhappy to be a trailblazer. I am Dan Selke, the editor of, and I'm here with Mia Johnson, editor of dorksideoftheforce.com. Mia, how are you in the middle of this seasonably warm week in Chicago after a season of bitter cold?
I'm happy. I'm glad we're kind of like shedding that winter coat and, sprouting and blooming. It's springtime. I'm very, very excited. How about you?
I gotta tell you, I've switched to flip-flops, and after I do that,
Already?
It's very hard to get me to switch back. So I hope there's no cold snap.
Ooh,
I don't
no,
want to
that's-
put on socks again.
It's a little too early for me for flip-flops and sandals, but you know what? To each his own.
It's like 70 degrees out there. Okay. But anyway, we are here on a very special occasion. This is April of 2021. And Mia, do you know what occasion that marks?
I believe I do, but don't make a fool out of me. Say it yourself.
All right. It is what HBO is calling the Iron Anniversary of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones debuted 10 years ago this month, a little later, but close enough. And hey, Julie, hey, everyone, if you have comments, questions, queries, concerns, feel free to share them with us either in YouTube or Facebook. We'll be happy to read and respond with our piercing insights. But yeah, Facebook, Game of Thrones debuted 10 years ago this month, which makes it still can't smoke, vote, join the army, but it's getting to that point, or drive. And it's a pretty cool milestone.
Yay.
Does it feel like 10 years? Does it feel like a 10-year-old show to you?
Not necessarily. I guess when you start to get around this age, 10 years goes by pretty fast anyway. So it, 2010, 2011 feels like the blink of an eye. And you're like, no, that was 10 years ago. It's like, boy.
I mean, it was 10 years ago, but it did last for 8 years. So I feel like it's still a bit more in our head because it only ended a couple of years ago. So it's still, people are still talking about it. And HBO is doing a lot to mark the occasion. I am looking forward to any possible teases. I bet there'll be some kind of big tease for House of the Dragon. By the end of the month, they will put out some kind of production video or something, or interviews. I mean, wouldn't you? If you're like, this is your Game of Thrones month.
Yeah.
And filming has begun, and they're doing a lot of stuff. Like they are putting a Game of Thrones spotlight page on HBO Max, including like 150 behind the scenes videos, cast interviews, clips and trailers. So much had never been seen before. That they put up the Conan O'Brien mass cast interview that previously was only on the complete box set. You had to plunk down like $200 to watch that. But now it's on HBO Max with the price of an expensive subscription. They're going to do a marathon, of course, of every episode on HBO 2, starting, I believe, on April 10th, a couple days from now. They're putting out a whole bunch of, the Game of Thrones cast members. I haven't seen this yet. They're going to be trying to raise money for causes, from Women for Women International to the Royal World Central Kitchen, Conservation National, a lot of things like that. That's very cool. And they're also going to surprise 3 couples who had Game of Thrones themed weddings with special anniversary gifts like barrels of wine, chalices, cakes inspired by certain houses. That's pretty fun.
Awesome.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd definitely be a fun surprise to get just out of nowhere. And of course, we're getting some new merch. For example, there's a new Danish craft beer coming, starting with the Iron Anniversary IPA. By the way, Iron Anniversary, like I looked it up. Technically, the 10-year anniversary for married couples is tin, which is sort of like iron, honestly. They kind of got that pretty close.
Oh, tin, like TIN.
Yes, TIN. Which I never understood, like the anniversaries for wedding gifts. Like the 10-year anniversary is tin. What the hell are you going to, it's made of tin that I'm going to like. I never quite understood that, but maybe there's something. Like you can get me an investment in tin that would appreciate over time. That could be cool.
There we go. I like that.
With Game of Thrones beers, we also got some new Game of Thrones Funko Pops that are always nice and fun. Oh, yes. I brought out some of the ones that have been gifted to me over the years for the occasion. But no, yeah, we got these Ned Stark on the Iron Throne, Arya, Tyrion, Khal Drogo, Robb Stark. and a fun little Drogon keychain.
Oh, I like the Khal Drogo.
I shouldn't say this, but like people get me these sometimes because they assume I'm a big Game of Thrones person, and I am.
Yeah.
But I don't really love tchotchkes, so I just kind of just let them sit in the box.
It'll be good for resale value later, just in case.
Ooh,
No
will.
offense, but yeah, all my pops are out of the box. I don't really care. To me, they're plastic, but I love them at least.
As long as you love what you do and what you get. So yeah, we got the Funko Pops, and we also have the most interesting thing on the list, I think. Anybody out there, tell me if you are going to buy one of these. A $2.2 million Fabergé egg modeled, inspired by Daenerys Targaryen's dragon eggs, designed by the Game of Thrones costume creator, designer Michelle Clapton, and the Fabergé head designer, Lisa Tallgren. I mean, look at all the freaking crystals on that thing. And it opens up into a model of the crown Daenerys Targaryen would have worn had she sat the Iron Throne instead of burning everybody and getting killed by Jon Snow. 2.2 million, worth it?
Oh yeah, I love this. I love the
yeah.
I feel so basic. No, I like the color scheme of it. They've got, this kind of magenta, blue and red going on. If I was rich,
it's beautiful.
And I was kind of, in this fandom space, I'd be like, I kind of have to have it. It's a collectible. You can't miss out on it. Or if someone wants to go like 50-50 or like 100, 100, 1,000, 1,000 on it with
so
me.
Just 1.1 million.
Yeah, I've got that stashed away somewhere, Dan. You don't know that.
What if we go like 1/10,000th? We'll just find 10,000 other people who want in, split it 10,000 ways, and then it might be manageable.
Exactly.
It looks beautiful. As Julie says, I think I might have to pass on the egg for now.
It's fine.
Just for now, But Stephanie, if I had the money, I would absolutely buy it. I'm split on these kind of things. Like, yes, it's very, very cool, but part of me is like, no one should ever spend that much money that could go to other more useful things on a damn jeweled egg. But I mean, I also understand that it's very, very cool. I will. Yes, $10.
If someone can make
$10.
I bet you on Etsy, someone can make a nice replica with some, like little fake beads from Michaels or something like that. That's what I would love to see.
Yeah. How about like a cheaper version? I can get in for that. But million might be a tad high. There's some other comments here that have been coming in. I'm sorry I haven't gotten to all of you guys. And yes, happy 10th birthday. Gotta love it. Christian asks, are the animated Game of Thrones short story history on HBO Max? Christian, I'm not sure. I would imagine, because those are pretty popular and cool and easy to put up there, like, why wouldn't you? But I haven't actually looked at it. I just know that there is the module and all the features behind to go through. And Beer Omgang is still out there. I don't know if they're making new Beer Omgang Game of Thrones beers, but I definitely know I've drunk a bunch of them, and I remember them, and I'm sure there are still some out there. And as Julie says, and I agree, Game of Thrones still the best show ever, or else anything but season 8. 10 years of enjoyment, yay.
Yay.
I mean, it's been a crazy 10 years.
Yeah.
It has been 10 years where we have watched this show go from, popular. I mean, it was a hit out of the gate. It wasn't, but go from that to being a phenomenon to sort of changing the way folk think about TV in terms of the scale of it, in terms of how popular fantasy crap is, certainly.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be feeling the impact of it for quite a while yet. What do you think, Mia? Do you think Game of Thrones is it early enough to say it has a legacy?
I think it definitely does. It feels like one of those big behemoths at this point where it's kind of burrowed itself in there with popular culture. Like I would, put up there with the Star Wars or Harry Potter or Star Trek. There was that meme or whatever yesterday where it was like 3 franchises have to go. I would put Game of Thrones in it. I feel like they're big enough. They carry their own weight, mass universal appeal at this rate. So they've done a good job.
I saw that
10
too.
years.
And actually, I did see like, why is the Game of Thrones in there? I mean, it is true that it hasn't had like a follow-up yet to kind of establish itself as this thing that's going to be around. I think that will be a real testing point. But there's no denying just the impact it's had and the passion it still inspires. Like, we wrapped up our Fandom Madness tournament, which was this giant tournament we had, like 64 different sci-fi fantasy characters all against each other. Daenerys ended up winning the whole thing. And Mia, when I tell you that thing got heated, I am not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, which is good and bad, right? Because you want folk to bring their passion. Sometimes passion can be a little out of control. Like folk were buying bots. Like, folk were saying some interesting Twitter things you might see on a social platform. But the passion is there.
Yeah, that was
and
the
most
good thing.
folk were great.
Yeah. I was really surprised to see. And it just goes to show, at the end of the day, with the great fans, how much people still love Game of Thrones, how much, they love Daenerys by far. I did want to mention that I saw that they had released a new season 8 like spoiler trailer, and it kind of got it got downvote spam. Do you think that was just kind of like a knee-jerk reaction? Some of the fans are like, let's just give the old dislike.
Well, I mean, because Game of Thrones is still with us, so I mean, at this point, however you felt about the final season, that is part of the Game of Thrones story. Like, the reaction to that, and just the people, so many people being displeased with it, is an inseparable part of what Game of Thrones was and is. But that's something that can also be dealt with and explored in the same way. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's kind of melded with the bigger narrative of the show itself. And that will also have periods of rehabilitation, re-examination, of resurgence, as we see how this show goes down in history and what follows it and what that does for the overall brand. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, you speak so scholarly about all of this. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was like, wow, you're saying it. I'd like to see you have your own passion. I don't think we ever talk about, always talk about the fans, but you're a fan of it too, Dan. So you've done spectacularly well during, Game of Thrones run. So.
Oh, I get passionate. I get passionate on this show all the time.
Oh yeah.
I think I do. If I don't, tell me I'm not passionate enough, and I'll scream it about something. And I agree with Christian here. I always thought this. I like that it stayed a weekly show instead of streaming. Made great water cooler talk on Mondays. Yes, like, so key to, and I think that also is part of the reason why folks like Disney are going with a weekly model. Like, Netflix for a while was, this is the future. We dump the entirety of Orange is the New Black on the thing at once. And for a while, I think we all thought, like, I guess that's how TV works on streaming.
Yeah.
But Game of Thrones was this giant discussion point for years. And then now we have these competitors to Netflix, do Disney Plus, your HBO Max, your Amazon Prime Video, and they're all kind of going, maybe not though. Like, maybe we can do things a week, because they want that. They saw how much conversation Game of Thrones inspired, and how, I mean, like, folk like us, like, how we can make a damn living off, like, writing stuff about it in the days after, and how useful that was. And I think everyone wants that now. So it's not great for Netflix, but it is good for folks who like serialized stories that unfold a bit at a time.
Yeah, Trailblazer. Well, not Razor, but I mean, in this day and age, almost is.
I mean, folk, or there was like narrative a while back where, like, it's the last water cooler show, and, like, you don't know that. Like, I really don't know if that's, there might be something else that comes back up. It's the most recent water cooler show, but who knows what will rise up and become the new one any day now. It could be. We have lots to choose from.
What's going on?
Stephanie says, I defriended people who didn't watch it. I'm joking. I mean, Stephanie, I cut off my family because they didn't like it. So I'm right there with you. I'm also joking. Or am I? I'll never know. By the way, gonna read Julie, and then we'll move on to our next topic. Julie writes, I feel if people were to rewatch season 8 with open minds, a lot will appreciate it more for what it did to give us, which I do agree with. Unfortunately, too many were just so disappointed they refused to rewatch it. I agree. I'll admit, like, I rewatched it in bits. I haven't rewatched it straight. I will because I do think time heals wounds, and I think there was a lot going into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a complicated legacy. It's a multifaceted, nuanced, interesting legacy, and I think time will only enrich it, not unlike a fine wine.
Ooh.
Oh God,
Cheers to that.
wrong pipe. This is water, though. I don't know why I said that.
I would say I hope so.
Speaking of, you hope so. What? Getting drunk makes podcasts more fun. Everybody knows that. Speaking of serialized shows that are on HBO, you and I have watched the first 4 episodes of The Nevers, which is premiering this Sunday, which is this new HBO show from super duper canceled creative mind Joss Whedon, the guy behind Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, The Avengers, and Inappropriate Workplace Behavior, about a group of women who are granted superpowers in Victorian London. When is the next Drinking with Dan podcast? I mean, how about next week? I mean, I'm totally down to bring on alcohol onto the show. It's certainly a work day, but whatever. Anyway, we watched the first 4 episodes of this, and I just want to start, and I'll kick to you in a second, by saying, like, overall, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was vibrant. I appreciated the creativity going on. Like, there are so many shows nowadays that are spin-offs and reboots and sequels of something else. Like every Marvel show, I mean, they're fun, don't get me wrong, but like it's all part of this like wider universe, the DC stuff. I was just writing trailers today, and like Netflix has a new superhero show, or like I'm watching Invincible, which is its own show, but it's also very, very like it DC with the serial numbers filed off kind of thing. There was like a trailer for Cruella today, which is a Cruella DeVille origin story. There's a trailer for a clip of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Everything is sequel. And it is nice to have something completely original, even if there are some rough edges to it. I think the acting's strong. I enjoy Joss Whedon is a guy who likes his very stylized rapid fire dialogue, which I can kind of like take or leave sometimes, but I did like parts I really enjoyed of that, and parts I was like, let's wrap this up. And I thought it was just an interesting mythology and world that I do want to see more of. Mia, what's your like immediate reaction to The Nevers, the first 4 episodes?
Yeah, I was really into it. And it's weird how like the whole Victorian thing somehow sticks on me. So I'm usually into the Victorian stuff. And it felt like it kind of had this PBS filter, some of the shows that they air from like
but
BBC
with an HBO breast every once in a while.
Yeah, it was weird because I'm like expecting, this kind of straight edge, just they're having fun, they might be crime fighting, but then there's like nudity, or they're having, these extravagant parties. I was like, oh right, this is HBO.
It's HBO, not TV.
Yeah, it's like, it's written in the contract, but I thought it was fun. I love the characters. I love the diverse range of characters. We've got 2 women in the lead. People of color, which it's like, when you think about Victorian England, they usually aren't like catering to that or bringing that in. And I also like the villain that they have as well, because they've got kind of a complicated malady. There's so many complicated things going on with her. And she reminds me of like Helena Bonham Carter type.
Oh, very much.
Still kind of her own thing at the same time. So I thought that was really fascinating how I bring her in there too. It's hard for me to put my finger though. Like sometimes it's like either the pacing is really slow or the plot feels a bit clunky in places where it's kind of like, what are we trying to accomplish in this scene, or how much longer are we going to be here? And it could also be me just like binging 2 hours back to back in 2 days, where it's kind of like an overload of information.
They're definitely, I mean, the plot kind of meanders. I like watching it. I get the idea that Joss Whedon was more interested in like the feel of the world. I think he loves his actors because he's given them all kinds of like fun lines to say. Sort of the mythology, like it dives right into the mythology of, so basically people, we're Victorian London, and for some reason, no one knows why, or do they? These women and some men are given superpowers. Like it's very X-Men, frankly. Like the main character can see the future. Her right-hand woman can understand electricity. She can make all kinds of crazy steampunk stuff. I don't know what. I'll ask a question. This is kind of getting too deep. Like, what's Melody's power? I actually never figured it out. Like, I know she has one, but her eyes glow red, and I'm like, what is she doing though?
I'm not. She's got some weird, maybe super strength or something going on. But yeah, I don't know if it's not evidently very clear to me right now.
You watch us on Sundays and then tell us. There's like one who's a giant who was very charming.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this very like prim, proper little girl who is just like 12 feet tall, and I don't know where they got the fabric to make the dress. There's like an ice breath girl. It is very, very X-Men in Victorian London.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of banding against the world, led by Amelia True, who I thought was an effective lead. I like Laura Donnelly, who plays her. I thought she had a good steeliness and like a good just leading woman presence that you like. I will follow you from scene to scene. The mythology is a little bit muddled, but I think that's, I don't know. When there's this much kind of vibrancy, I don't really mind that much. Like I'll go along with it.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of different things at play, and you kind of have to keep. It really does remind me of, if we're thinking of HBO Lovecraft Country, there's like a lot of storylines and things to keep up with, and you might like forget about one character and what they're doing, and then they'll come back up, and you're like, oh yeah, that was going on, and they're doing something weird. And it does get weirder as it goes on as well, which I like, and I'm excited to see how that plays out, since we've only seen maybe half or so of the season. And yeah, over on Winter is Coming, I have an interview with the two leads. They were so awesome. Anne was just this really fun, bubbly personality, and I was like, I just want to hang out with her. And she's got her Irish accent, which just adds on top of that. It's all real. I was joking with you before. I was like, sometimes I can't understand them in the series, and I really need subtitles.
I got used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. You have to fine tune your ear. But in the interview, talking to them, they were awesome. You can see that they put a lot into this show. I don't know what happened on set in regards to the whole Whedon thing or anything like that, but they seem to be just in really good spirits about getting to be on it, getting to be, women in this kind of a unique show. So yeah, go check out my interview. It's there. It's a fun read. And I guess thanks to HBO for setting us up.
Yeah. And check out The Nevers on Sunday on HBO. I mean, just quickly, the Joss Whedonness of it all is an interesting point, because I mean, like, I can't think of a show that's more Joss Whedon. Like he's slathered all over this, like Zack Snyder is slathered all over the Snyder Cut. Like everything he loves is here. He has like his army of warrior waifs who are fighting against possible odds. He has all that dialogue we mentioned. He has like the romance, like the Jane Austen thing between Penance and like the Hugh Grant looking guy is like this, like so just like gentle. Everyone's like so polite and proper. They might break if you touch them. Like that's very Joss Whedon. Like it's so there, and like I'm like they want to continue the show, but I don't know, man. Like with him gone, like it's so much the stuff he likes. I'll be interested to see if they do continue it, how they'll try to just imitate him or bring a new sensibility to it. Because I've never seen a show that just screamed Joss Whedon like this one does.
Yeah,
the fight scenes feel very Buffy.
The fights, it's good action too.
They're talking the the action's cool. But just like they're talking, they're quipping, and then all of a sudden, like bam, kaboom, kabeam. And there's some creative ones, like that one where the guy's walking on water. Spoiler, was a pretty fun, like the one way it was shot. I liked it a lot. But yeah, so what do you think of how do you make a show that's so identified with one person after that person is gone.
And this is kind of aside from all of his, accusations and things like that. I'm not necessarily attached to the Joss Whedon of it all in this. I think maybe you're a little, because you watch Buffy and so you're a little more familiar with his style anyway. So to me, I'm like, I like the bare bones of it. I like what they have as far as the plot. I'm like, maybe if someone does come in for a second season to kind of sweep things up a little more neatly as well, I think they can pull it off. But yeah, I'm not necessarily married to say the Joss Whedon style of this. I can kind of take it in a different form if that happened to happen.
The Joss of it all. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what you guys think of it. So let us know if you watched on Sunday, and what happens to it in the future. And I'm sorry, there's been a bit of stop and starting. Just bear with us because our insights are worth it. By the way, Mia, you also watched another program that I think you wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what are we talking about next?
Also, we're talking about HBO Max, talking about, or perhaps out in the theater, Godzilla versus Kong, which I think you watched.
Yeah.
Mia, I did not watch it, so sell me on it.
Oh my gosh. See, I don't know if I can sell you on this movie. This is really, really one of those movies where you have to turn your brain all the way off and just be excited to see the main event, which is, huge monkey versus giant lizard. That is the meat of this movie. And if you care about anything else, you've come to see this movie for the reason. Now, I watched the first two Godzilla movies leading up to this because I hadn't seen it before. I really enjoyed the first Godzilla. The second one was just so awful to me. And I had already seen Kong Skull Island in theaters, so I didn't really want to do a rewatch of that. But yeah, it was a.
Do you need to see them to appreciate this new one?
Yeah, because they're kind of doing their own Avengers thing, and like if you don't understand the whole Monarch storyline, and Millie Bobby Brown was in the Godzilla sequel, and they bring her back, so there's some things you need to know about that. You might want to come into it, prepared, but it was just, senseless fun. That's the best thing I could say. If you have a long day, you just need to unwind. You turn on this movie and nothing makes sense. The plot is not coherent. The characters are usually pretty awful. I thought I had one person that I liked, but I can't even vouch for that. But it is just some senseless fun. And I would honestly love to see more of it.
Cool. I mean, they are trying to restore the MonsterVerse, whatever, which is they want to center everything now. I haven't seen it. I saw the earlier movies. I gotta tell you, like I saw them and they went woo woo. Like I think I enjoyed watching them, but I don't remember a thing about them.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was going to be so long and drawn out. Like when I saw Kong, it was just kind of like a one. And I was like, I like the actors. They've got like everybody from the Marvel universe in this. I'll watch it. Sorry, there's lots of activity going on the street right now. But yeah, with this one, if I were to say there's a plot to this, which is so laughable, basically it's
so bad, huh?
they're trying to. What are they trying to do? For some reason, someone wants to go to the center of the earth to find the radiation center of where all these titans are coming from. So somebody gets the bright idea to say, hey, why don't we have King Kong use his natural instincts to lead us to the center of the earth? Meanwhile, something else is going on in this factory and Godzilla is destroying it and they're trying to find out why. And eventually, one thing leads to another and, they're fighting and they're tearing up Hong Kong. So as you can see, I can barely even recall the plot, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't.
Gotcha. as long as it's a fun time. Good. All right, cool. So you recommend this movie to people?
I would. Yeah. I think if you literally if you just want something fun to watch, you have no complaints. And it's very over the top in some ways too. Like the villain, it's like a classic cartoon villain. And because they don't take themselves so serious, I can cut them some slack just for being like, we know you just want to cut to the chase. So we'll help you out here.
Very cool. I might check it out.
Yeah.
It's been a few hours. And again, I'm sorry people about the connections. Richard has blamed Chicago internet, so I'll just say, how could you do this to us, Mayor Lori Lightfoot? Get it together, Lori. All right, and on the superhero side of things, we had a new trailer for the next program in the never-ending parade of Marvel stories.
Yeah.
A trailer for the show Loki. Why don't we watch a snippet of it now?
Yes.
I know what this place is. The timekeepers have built quite the circus. And I see the clowns are playing their parts to perfection.
Big metaphor guy. I love it. Makes you sound super smart.
I am smart.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Please sign to verify this is everything you've ever said.
This is absurd.
Sign this too.
We protect the proper flow of time. You picked up the Tesseract, breaking reality. I want you to help us fix it.
Why me?
I need your unique Loki perspective.
The weapon?
Nah.
Hey, pop quiz for you and everybody else out there. Is that Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson?
It's Owen Wilson. How could it be his? Listen, I have become like an Owen Wilson stan recent. I don't know why. I think it's because I watch Cars back to back 1, 2, and 3. So now that this is out, I'm like, just sign me up for all the Owen Wilson, please.
Did Luke Wilson like not go on to do much? I don't really know.
I
don't care. Not
Give
really
me a break. Yeah, we're not, so much for Loki. Let's just talk about Owen Wilson.
Are they twins? Are they? Never mind. Okay. Loki, the next program. I think it looks really fun. I'll be honest with you, Mia. I am. Oh, thank you. I don't know. Are they twins? Never mind. I'll be honest with you, Mia. Like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is not really sticking in my brain much. Like I watch it and it's kind of done. Whereas WandaVision, just because it was so bizarre, like I was like thinking about it throughout the week and like looking forward to it a lot more. And maybe it's because it was so kind of off the beaten path and a little odd. And this looks off the beaten path and a little odd.
Yeah.
He's Loki is imprisoned or indentured or something to an organization that goes through time to fix broken timelines. That's weird. I think that's strange. I think that could make for a lot of creative sequences and plot lines as Loki, goes to ancient Rome, goes to 1970s London or whatever, goes to the Battle of the Bulge or wherever they want to take him and have him work his Loki magic. I could see myself enjoying that and getting into like the unpredictability of it. Whereas the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I don't know. It's just it's fine. It's not really
it's like
thrilling me.
I've been craving something a little unique. And it's not to like completely say I'm like I don't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier or anything like that. But it was kind of like WandaVision had just set me up for something, so intriguing and so weird that I'm like I'm really missing out on it. And I like kind of after this trailer was kind of reminding me of like the Umbrella Academy, especially with like that retro-ish feel, like when who's the brother, who's stuck in the kid body. It kind of reminds me of like when he goes to work at that agency and he has to like go back and do things in history and stuff like that. So it's like, hey, no competition there, but it does look really fun. I like the kind of chemistry that those two have going on. And it really does make me wonder though, because it's like, okay, we're talking about this Loki that's split off from the 2012 Avengers timeline, which means this one has missed out on like so much. Your mom died, your dad died, you have a surprise sister, your brother loses an eye, he loses his hammer, Thanos kills you, half of all of Asgard is gone. Valkyrie is the queen. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that, it's kind of just wonky right now in the timeline anyway. So I wonder how that's going to be addressed. And then overall, like, what are they going to do with Loki's character after this? Like, are they going to, send him back and, put him nicely back into place? Or is everything just going to kind of loop out and then he ends up dying? And could you imagine, like, eventually you finish all this and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to have to die at the hands of Thanos? Maybe I'm thinking too much right now.
I mean, that would be a fun, ironic circle to make, and they do like kind of closing the loop on these shows,
Yeah.
so it's not, so like before, like, so it's not too crazy, so they have to actually change things. They like to bring it kind of back to zero, or at least one,
Yeah.
and then progress. So I'm sure that'll happen, but it looks like a really fun ride, which is what I want one of these Marvel shows. By the way, I looked it up, and okay, wait a minute. Okay, Luke is the younger brother, and Owen apparently has, for whatever reason, done more with his career. And there's a third brother named Andrew, who I was unaware of.
Yeah, it's like the third Hemsworth.
They look a
brother.
lot alike. They look like twins, okay? That's what I thought. But they're not. Lot 49. I still have to watch Lot 49. They are just brothers. There is a younger and an older one. But you could have fooled me. Any other thought, Loki, from any of y'all out there, or you, Mia?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This was the one that I've been like most excited for. I like can't wait till June 11th. Yeah,
bring it. Do you have any thoughts about the latest episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Power Broker?
Yeah, I like. This is the one where they were finally working together with Zemo. And I was kind of thinking, it's like, I love that they've given him a personality as well. And it's almost kind of like, the working with Loki thing where you don't know if he's going to backstab you. You don't know. He's kind of got like, a little catty attitude, but they're not the same character. Like Zemo and Loki are both kind of villainous or mischievous, whatever you want to call it, but they still have their own personality. So I like where they've taken Zemo. I think Daniel Bruhl has done a good job of, taking somebody who just had like a personal vendetta against the Avengers, and now he's like a rich baron, and he's got like a butler and all these things. And the little
it was
the
more
dance
distinctive
scene
for sure than what he was doing in Civil War. I remember him better here.
Yeah, so this episode was good. They're still kind of unfolding this mystery about the Power Broker and the Flag Smashers. I hate to say it, but I don't necessarily care about any of like the mystery that they're trying to solve. I just like seeing the interaction between Falcon and Bucky, and Sharon was okay too. I wasn't super duper in favor of Sharon's character. I get it. She's been, kicked to the side and left in the dust. So she's a little, pissed off about that. But I don't know. I still wasn't really feeling her character, but maybe I might.
I mean, the plot is like supposed to be dipping into all these themes of like international terrorism and sort of the trauma of displaced peoples. And I'm not sure it really like wants to go all the way and think about it too much. It would rather get back to the Sam Bucky odd couple stuff, which is understandable because it's the most fun stuff. Again, I'm liking it when I watch it, and then I sort of forget about it until the next one comes along.
Exactly.
I think it's fine. For next week, though, I'd be curious if you guys are going to watch the Nevers on HBO. I'd wonder what you think about that. I thought the premiere was maybe my favorite bit. I love the end of the premiere where we kind of find out a revelation. I won't say what, but you know what I'm talking about.
It'll jog my memory in a second. There was one good cliffhanger ending though, but.
Yeah. And I believe next week we will possibly talk about another big upcoming fantasy show we get an early access to. Did you get an early access to? Netflix
no, I probably would have to ask. So I can ask if you want me to give it a look.
No, you don't have to. I didn't know if you already had, but I will talk about it, and we'll do that then. In the meantime, we are available in podcast form on Google Play, iTunes, wherever podcasts are available, and we are here on the Winners Command Facebook page and YouTube page every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, talking about TV, movies, books, fantasy, sci-fi, Game of Thrones, Marvel, The Nevers, Shadow and Bone, any other thing that happens to cross our path and is interesting. And you know what? I'll read this comment for Christian, and then we'll go out. He says, "I can see Power Broker being Sharon and don't want it to be." Ooh, I hadn't thought of that. Is that a thing? Could that happen? That she's behind the whole thing?
Anything is possible. She seems to know a lot of people.
Okay, that's intriguing.
Also
I had not considered that. Thank you, Christian.
Hoping it's Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah, I thought Thunderbolt Ross might also kind of find his way back in there too with all the, super soldier serum stuff. So, or just have another person and you're like, oh, okay.
We will marinate on that until our next episode on Wednesday, until the episode on Friday. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you anon. Goodbye.
Bye.